You are now locked in and listening to The Issue.
This guy is a franchise quarterback, and no, I don't want to hear any pushback on that.
It feels like a top 10 roster to me. It feels like it can win a championship.
This is The Issue.
Yo, what's up? We are back. It is The Issue. It is Thursday, March 23rd, and we have yet another episode here for you today. So NFL free agency is in full swing. You stopped into the right place because we're going to cover pretty much all of it today.
It's going to be great.
Watch us on YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Prime Video, and you can catch us just listening on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and of course, Amazon Music.
There it is.
Can't forget that. So if you have joined us on any of those platforms, welcome. We have a fantastic show. So we're going to start off with Aaron Rodgers. I feel like that's the biggest piece of news. Everybody's kind of interested in what's going to happen with Aaron. The Jets are obviously looking like the clear number one favorite, the pick that most people would have. And we kind of have that too, but we're going to give you some things to look out for and just our thoughts on that. To finish the first segment, we'll have hits and misses, and then we will have a little NFL rebuild game. Worst teams in the league, who needs to rebuild, what do you need to do, what should you focus on?
Yeah, so I feel like the contractors out there, you're going to relate to this one.
Yes.
Right? We are going to frame NFL teams in terms of what would I do if they were like a house or a building, right? Do we need to rip it down to the studs?
Home
right?
improvement experts are going to love this.
Do we need a complete foundation makeover, right? Where are we starting here? Or do we just need to put a new coat of paint on it and we're in business?
Yeah. So that'll be the NFL rebuilds there. Then we'll have the news to finish out segment number 2. And in the third segment, it's going to be a mock draft. So we are going to flip a coin. Whoever...
Kind of a mock draft.
Ish.
Yeah.
We're going to run down the first round of the draft.
It's like me versus you mock draft.
Yeah. It's going to be a little bit of a competition, but also give you some good insight to what players are the most valuable, who you could see go where. As we lead up to the draft, we are getting closer and closer. I believe it starts April 15th or 16th, something around there. So we're about just under a month away from the draft, I'm pretty sure.
Look it up later.
Either way, though, Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, what do you think about it?
We talked about it last time, talking about value, right? Most we were talking about Lamar and his contract situation. We touched on Aaron a little bit, and I said, and I proved to be right, and this is basically a little extra hit here before we get into hits and misses later, but I said the league and life in general doesn't pay you what you think you're worth, right? It doesn't pay you what you think you deserve. It doesn't pay you for what you did. It pays you for what are you right now, what are you going to be, and how much are you worth to me. It's not how much you're worth to yourself. It's how much are you worth to me, my business, my franchise, whatever it may be, right? It's not, oh, well, I think I deserve $45 million and 2 first-round picks. You might not be. You might not be worth that. The market's telling you that it's not, right? People think that this market for Aaron is super robust. Well, it's not. It's really just the Jets right now, right? The whole, what's your market thing? It's not linear. There's so many factors. I mean, if you were a businessman and you closed deals, regular deals, nothing crazy, but you closed all the moderate, risk deals, right? But you're only there for 70% of the year, mostly the slow season. You kind of take your vacations. You're not really there. You're kind of slacking off, and then you get back to the busy season, and you're like, oh shit, and you're behind. Well, really, and to make it better, whenever you get to like the big sales, like, hey, this is where we need you, right? Big dinner, close the sale. The guy's on the ropes. Can you close the sale? Nope, you said the wrong thing. You lost the client. Right? That's the story of Aaron Rodgers. Every single time. 13-3. Great season. New coach. Running the football a lot better. Able to throw and play action. Top 5 offensive line. Defense is actually starting to get really, really good. This was a couple years ago when Jair Alexander broke onto the scene, right? 2 good pass rushers. This might be your year. You're hosting the playoff games. Jimmy G enters. Loss. Next year, Tom Brady is getting wheelchair to the sidelines because he's like 43 years old. Scotty Miller's catching touchdown passes. Scotty Miller runs track in college. AB is, I don't even know what he's doing.
Stripping on an NFL field.
Probably. Gronk can barely walk at that point. Goes into Lambeau and beats Aaron. But when it matters most, Aaron's not there. He's not there. All new receiving core, almost all new, outside of like Alan Lazard and Randall Cobb came back. They used to work together. Okay, used to work together. How about we get in some practicing with this system? Nah, I'm good. I'm going to take the offseason off. OTAs, no. Oh, you mean the rookies? No, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Yeah, no, I'm sure they can learn just as much from Jordan Love. He's a great kid. Okay, interesting. The story of Aaron Rodgers over the last decade. No Super Bowl appearances. Only 4 conference championship appearances. No, 4, a decent amount in 10 years, but not for an MVP. Like if Mahomes, in 10 years you look back, he's only goes to 4 more conference championships, and Burrow goes to like 5, are you going to be like, I don't know. Like that, kind of a disappointment, right? So, obviously, he lost in all those conference championships. Let's see to who? Jimmy G, an aging Tom Brady. How about Matt Ryan? I know he was MVP, but it's Matt Ryan. And Russell Wilson. Young Russell Wilson. Second, third year Russell Wilson. He also, in that span, has lost playoff games to, listen here, this is the who's who. Colin Kaepernick twice, once at home. Carson Palmer. And Jimmy Garoppolo when the Niners didn't score an offensive touchdown. The Green Bay Packers quarterback. That's your resume. 10 years. But the MVPs. MVPs don't matter in football all that much. Are they important? Sure. Are they cool? Absolutely. Will I ever win one? Hell no. Is it a great accomplishment? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's not like the NBA where it's super accolade driven. Kind of big star driven. No, the NFL is, do you win? Do you win when it counts? Tom Brady was never the best player in the league. He was never the most talented. Didn't win the most MVPs. Won the most Super Bowls. Won the most playoff games. Showed up when it mattered most. Fourth quarter, 2 minutes left. Who wants the ball? Tom Brady. Who doesn't? Aaron Rodgers. So the whole, what does the market say you're worth? That's what you're worth. It's not, but I think I'm a Hall of Famer, so I should just get this. I should just get that. If you're Green Bay right now, you have all the leverage in the world. You got your own quarterback in the division. The Jets are desperate. Make the Jets give up more than they should. Absolutely. That's exactly the play. Get a second, get a first, probably get a starter. Because why not? Why not? So what are the Packers realistically going to do? Are they going to bring him back? What do you do with Jordan Love? You bring him back, you're going to pay him $60 million. You can't fit that onto your books. If you're Green Bay, you don't have $60 million laying around. What do? You deal him right now. Quit dragging your feet. You have all the leverage. The Jets are willing to be desperate for you. They've already offered a first. They're going to haggle over a second, a third here. Go get a third. Go get a starter. Green Bay's in a great spot. But the Jets, are the Jets exponentially better with Aaron Rodgers? I don't think so.
I really don't think so.
In that division, yeah, he's your second best quarterback, but look around the league. Look at the second best quarterback in a lot of divisions.
You hope he is.
You hope he is. But I mean, if Tua is healthy, Tua will look better than him. Tua for the first 6 weeks was an MVP candidate. Aaron played the first 6 weeks. Wasn't even close, to be honest with you. Wasn't even close.
The whole time you were saying that, it was going through my head, right? When you say the market will tell you what you're worth.
Absolutely.
All of the other top teams that are not in the hunt for Aaron Rodgers. Some of the GMs have commented. Have you heard this?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't give up more than a second.
Yeah, they would not give up a first-round pick.
So,
see, realistically,
hate to tell
right
you
now,
that, bud, but you're not worth a first round. Outside of New York, you're really not.
So what would you, like if I'm the Jets, I'd give them like a second this year and maybe like a conditional second next year. If Aaron plays, you get a second next year. 2 seconds, I think that's his market right now.
Around, I'd say if maybe 2 seconds and like a third.
Maybe you can get a starter. It's interesting. Green Bay's got a lot of leverage. They get the guy in-house, but of course that's another hit for us. Why don't we transition right into hits and misses so I can boast more about where I'm right? And number one, said it over and over again. Smart teams get it. Dumb teams have never been farther off, right? Like, for example, you see the Bears go pay for 2 linebackers.
Yeah. They continue to like just spiral.
What are you doing? You go get DJ Moore. You make a good move finally. You trade down, you get DJ Moore. You go pay for 2 linebackers. So that's one example. That's one hit. And then also, I feel like the New England Patriots, they got New England patrioted, by the new New England Patriots. Did you follow? The New England Patriots got New England Patrioted by the new New England Patriots.
Yes. Okay.
The new New England Patriots being the Kansas City Chiefs, right? That's the next dynasty.
Yeah.
What have the Patriots always done? Found value in players. What did the Chiefs do? Sign Juju Smith for dirt cheap with a bunch of incentives to motivate him to stay off TikTok and actually work, right?
Especially
and
in the Bill Belichick system.
And well, no, but that's what KC did last year. Then Juju comes in, productive because Mahomes is nasty, succeeds in his role, and then they ship him off. But New England overpays him because of one good year. Like, New England was always the ones moving off players after a year of production.
Like, right at the right time.
Not buying into a player for $11 million a year who I don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't expect like the same type of success with a Mac Jones.
Absolutely
You
not.
had Patrick Mahomes throw to you, and now you're going to go have Mac Jones throw to you. Oh, by the way, in a loaded AFC East.
Yeah, I would agree. And then here's the thing. It's not an awful move, but you're overpaying for a player. Like, this is classic what New England used to do to other teams. Move off a player 1 year before everybody else realizes it. The other teams go overpay for him, and then New England's sitting there like, dumbass. Yeah. Right? Now New England's them. Like, that's New England now.
Yeah.
So
New England look bad. Bears are overpaying it in valuable positions.
We're all surprised. Miss number 1 here. I think I've flipped about. It's been a miss on about. This is probably like 10 straight episodes. I don't know what to make of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I don't know. Every time I say, well, they're looking pretty good, they lose like 6 out of 7. And then I'll finally be like, dude, I don't know, put a fork in them. They got to make some changes. I say that, they go rip off 7 straight. So I don't know. So I'm just going to say now that they're done, maybe they'll go rip off 7 straight. Who knows? I guess I hope so. But it just doesn't seem like we have the bottom 6 to 9 guys in the roster that are going to be able to compete with the other team's bottom 6 to 9 players. So it's just not going to work.
I just hope to see a playoff run, quite honestly. I love playoff hockey.
They're not even in the playoffs right now.
And they've fallen out of the wild card. They were hanging on by a thread, and now the Florida Panthers have overtaken them.
You're going to be by just a state with no natural ice. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's not great.
That state can't even produce ice, and you're getting beat by them.
That's tough. That's tough to. If anything, I guess that just speaks to the expansion of hockey in the NHL. You got more. All the expansion teams are doing good. The Seattle Kraken are doing good. Vegas Golden Knights are doing good.
It's true.
Pittsburgh is dwindling, and it sucks because I think they should move off of Mike Sullivan.
I like Sully so much, though.
I do like him, but I also think a voice goes stale in the locker room.
Absolutely,
and I think that's just 100%. We've seen it happen now twice with the Penguins.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be time to make a change. If not this year, it's going to be next year.
I don't know. We'll see. I think the change should come from GM first. I think the GM's a clown, but whatever.
Yeah.
So I said about 6 games into this hit number 2 here. I said about 6 games into Baker's second season that he's probably not a top 15 guy. He's probably not even a top 20 guy. And this is when he was playing pretty well, and everybody's like, "You're out of your mind." Okay, well, we just signed an $8 million deal to be either a really low end starter or a very high end backup with the Buccaneers on a team that's probably looking to tank. Yeah. So I mean, and it's weird because nobody says shit anymore about me and my Baker takes. I don't hear anything. Not a word.
You don't hear anything.
Not a word. Used to be every comment. Oh, how to fill Monday night when Baker won. Oh, how about Baker's 3 touchdowns on Sunday against Houston? I'd be like, well, yeah. It's Davis Mills on the. It's like, yeah, of course. And I said he's not a franchise guy. Those days are done, and he's just not a franchise quarterback. He'll bounce around the league. He'll get a couple more gigs like this. Couple 1-year deals, maybe be a backup. No, I think he'd be great on television. You put him on like NFL Game Day or not NFL, NCAA Game Day, right? College Football Game Day.
Yeah.
He'd be great on that. I think he'd be because he's a good personality for sure.
Oh,
I'm not saying Baker's like I'm sure Baker Night on the Town would be a riot.
For sure, but
he's not my franchise quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback,
and he's already put himself in the back seat in Tampa. I think that's the funniest thing too. Did you see the interview where he? No,
did he say that? Did he say that?
He goes, "I'm never going to be a Tom Brady," and like he goes out there and just says it. Like, yes, everybody knows you're not going to be a Tom Brady, but you don't have to go say it. Like, at least create some confidence. At least
I'm happy he said it. Baker's always lacked self-awareness, so I'm happy he finally found some.
Yeah,
good for him.
He's going to be a great. Teddy Bridgewater.
Hey,
that's what he's going to end up being.
1 year, maybe he starts 7 games. You're going to get $8 million. I'd sign up for that. Where do I ink?
If I was him,
I could throw the ball.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, I'd take that.
All right, miss number 2 here. We thought Matt Ryan would be a really nice addition to the Colts. We had him finishing in first. Now, granted, we expected him to have, a run game, a serviceable offensive line, a better secondary.
We thought he'd have some support.
None of that happened. Ended up having a coach who was fired. Now, I like Frank Reich, but at the end of the day, he was fired, so something clearly wasn't working. But he didn't help himself. Arm is shot, legs are non-existent, accuracy's down. So, I mean, we were way wrong all around with Matt Ryan. It was not a good situation. We thought it was going to be. Whatever, my bad.
Every time you miss, it hurts, but that was a big one. I was kind of like, I had so much hype and so much confidence behind that, hoping that would be like the good dark horse pick of the year, and it just fell off a cliff right from the get-go, and it just never started to turn up at all.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Not great.
I agree. Hit number 3 here. We said keep an eye on Pittsburgh. Kenny Pickett's on his rookie deal. You got some good cap space. Got a nice core of young players. T.J. Watt, Minka. I liked our receivers, Muth, Naj. Right. So we got a good core, cap space. I said go out. Let's pay for some positions that we're not good at drafting. Offensive line hasn't over the last couple of years hit in the draft. Go pay for an O-lineman. Can't draft secondary very well as of lately. We get Cam Sutton, but it seems like they're out the door in 3 years. So go pay for someone a little bit better, right? So they go get Patrick Peterson, who's not great at this point in his career, but certainly serviceable. And one of the most underrated pickups is that Isaac. I'm going to butcher his last name. The guy from Philly. He's like, I want to say Samoan. It's like
looks like Troy Polamalu.
Semaulo or something like that.
I saw it.
It's like Semaulo. Semaulo.
Yeah, somebody said that he looks exactly like Troy Polamalu and Cam Hayward put together.
Sure.
Because if you look at his face and his build, he's Cam Hayward, but then he has the Polamalu hair.
He's a big dude.
He's going to fit in perfect in Pittsburgh.
He's a really nice B+ to an A- guard. Got him from Philly. Is a road grader. Najee's going to have some holes over the left side if that's where we're going to end up putting him. So I love the move. We expected them to go out and use that cap space. They've done it pretty well so far. They get Nate Herbig, another guard. So they've rebuilt guard. Move Daniels over to tackle probably. Herbig can also play center. Maybe that's an option for you. But we have a really nice serviceable line right now. Maybe one more addition, maybe draft somebody, and you're looking at a really nice offensive line in Pittsburgh.
Oh yeah, and the Steelers are trending up now. But I just want to say, to I know 2 people. One, Mike Nicastro, he was on the show, great guy.
Yeah,
love talking to him. Saw a tweet, did not agree with it. That and Colin Dunlap.
What'd they say?
They both suggested the Steelers deal Deontay Johnson and go get a veteran receiver. Now, why would you go get a veteran receiver when the Steelers draft receiver so well?
See, I would agree with that. I don't think it's crazy.
I would say stay cheap while you can at those positions.
Yeah, but Deontay's not that cheap anymore. It's like $15 million.
Okay, but if you deal him, I wouldn't go get a veteran. I'd draft somebody.
I think that is fair. I think that's fair.
Use your free agent pickups
but I'm
positions.
not a huge fan of Deontay, so I wouldn't be shocked or hurt by that move. I wouldn't be. I wouldn't hate it.
You watch the games with me. You know how I feel about Deontay. I'm not the biggest fan either.
But I would agree. I think you should address positions that you don't draft well through your free agency, and you should stick to your guns and draft what you draft well.
Yeah, draft receivers. So that's worked out really well for you for the last.
Go back to
10
Central
years.
Michigan and go find another AB. You know what I mean? Go find somebody.
Yeah, it can't be that hard. Go to the MAC. The MAC's
Hire me.
full of them.
I'll do it. Hire me.
MAC's full of them.
All right, miss number 3 here. So I picked Duke for the tournament. Charlotte, I thought for the last 15 to 20 games, they were probably the best team I've seen.
Yeah, this is a miss for both of us because I picked Kentucky too.
Evidently, I didn't see Tennessee because they were significantly better. It wasn't particularly close. I thought Kansas State was a much better team than Kentucky as well. So, tough day for both of us. A couple blue bloods fall. Whatever is what it is. Tournament's been fascinating though. It's been a great watch.
What percentage is your bracket correct? Do you remember?
I think I'm slightly above 50.
I'm at 94% still.
Wow.
But Kentucky, I picked them. It wasn't even my real bracket because the way I do it is I make 3 brackets. I make the bracket that I really think is going to happen, and I took Kansas, and that bracket is doing horrific. It's at 60%.
Yeah.
And then I just usually make a Kentucky bracket because I'm a Kentucky fan. So I was like, okay, we'll take them. How does this happen?
A couple other upsets in there.
Super accurate on all the other games.
Except for Kentucky.
Missed on the Kentucky part of it. And then I always take an underdog bracket. I have Northern Kentucky winning that one.
That was like a 16 seed.
Yeah, I just thought, crazier things have happened, and why not make it? But that one is 0.001% correct at this point. So
Okay.
doing well.
Yeah, that's great.
Overall, though, fun tournament. I always love March Madness.
Love watching it. It's been fantastic. But that's all we got for hits and misses. Don't go anywhere. Second segment, we're going to have a little contract talk here. We're talking as a contract where we are building a building We're ripping down studs. We're putting on coats of paint for NFL teams to kind of rebuild their roster and where they are in that process. So don't go anywhere. All right, we're back. The issue. Second segment. Thursday the 23rd. Beautiful Thursday. Some may say. It's not snowing. We take that as a dub.
Hey, it was like 60 today in March in Pittsburgh. I'll take it.
You got to take what you can get. But we are back. The issue. If you didn't watch the first segment, go back. We had a little bit of a rant discussion on Aaron Rodgers, his value, the market setting his value, and then we had hits and misses per usual. So go back and watch that. This segment we're gonna have. It's going to be kind of like an NFL tier pyramid, right? But we're gonna talk to those contractors out there, those in construction. That's kind of how we're going to frame this discussion, this argument, right? So the bottom of the tiers is going to be teams that, you know what, we should probably just level the house and let's just start fresh. All right, the next one's going to be, you know, waiting for inspection. Young quarterback, waiting another year. Can this guy play? Do we have to move off this guy? Could be a year away from, hey, we're not too bad. No cracks in the foundation. Needs a coat of paint. We're okay. Or, hey, we found some severe damage. Level the house.
Yeah, like just
then we
start
got
over.
next one. We got leaky plumbing. Right, house overall is pretty good, but you got some problems. And if they're left unattended, it could go very, very wrong. Next one needs paint. Pretty much a really good roster. Needs a couple positions here and there to really polish it up, and you're in business. And finally, ready to sell. Top couple teams. Really like. Complete rosters, have the stud quarterback, really good coach, good support, all that.
Yeah. So either way, that'll be good. It'll give us a good way to kind of quantify all these different teams and really judge their needs going into this offseason, in this free agency, going into the draft, big things like that. So let's go with NFL rebuilds.
I'd like to clarify before we start the graphic. You're going to see the teams are not in order within the tier. Obviously, the tier above it is a better team, but within the tier itself, they're not ranked. Okay, starting at the bottom, like we always do with level it. I think we'll start with Atlanta. For me, quarterback is an absolute no, and I like Taylor Heineke, but he's not your franchise quarterback.
Not even close.
We think Arthur Smith is okay as the coach, but I'm not sold. I think their skill position players are overrated, and there's no semblance of a defense. I would level it and restart it and get a new. I'd probably trade any really good piece I have, go get a bunch of draft picks, start over, draft a quarterback, rip it down to the studs. I'd level it.
Yeah, 100%.
I think Houston's the same way. I think they're already kind of in the process of doing it, and you already signed your left tackle, so you're good there. You already got a new coach this offseason. You're probably going to go get a new quarterback. They're in the process of leveling it, and I think that's the smart thing to do. You got to be interesting, and they've been boring and bad.
Yeah, ship them out and go get guys that are just talented. I don't care what positions. You need so many of them. You just pick a guy, and he'll be better than what you have.
Yeah.
So start trying to build around something. Get something you can build around. But I mean, the team you have now, you can't roll with that. Not even close. You have to do something about it, and that's to the point where it's just bring in the backhoe, just bring it in, knock it over, redig a whole new foundation, and we're starting from the studs.
Yeah, I think the next two you can say the same thing. Actually the next three, Indianapolis, Carolina, and Washington. For me, they're kind of in the same spot. Both have been just signing quarterbacks here, 1 year guy there, 2 year guy here, just trying to stay above water and not be awful.
They're trying to be relevant.
Now for Carolina, it hasn't worked because Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater haven't worked out. Indy, they've been able to be somewhat relevant, but this past year, wheels fell off. And Washington, are we kidding with the Jacoby Brissett stuff? Are we kidding?
No.
Rip it down. Come on. What are we doing? Either go draft a guy or rip it down. I mean, Taylor Heineke was a better option. You let him walk. So, I mean, those three are in the same position. They keep trying to stop-gap quarterback. Quit stop-gapping. Rip it down to the studs. Go get a new guy.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers, I think, look, you had your run with Brady. Now it's time to rip it down. Let's start fresh, right? Let's pivot quickly. Let's not sit here and try to convince me that Levante David and Baker Mayfield are going to lead us to a Super Bowl. Let's be realistic.
No,
rip it down, start fresh.
It was a really old team. You need to go get youth. You need to completely rebuild that, shape a new culture. It just needs change. You need change after Brady.
I agree. So next tier here, waiting for inspection, right? So these teams, we don't like the trajectory. Talk to us in a year, right? Talk to us after the inspection. This year is going to be an inspection year, right? So let's start with Chicago is one. We don't know. I think Justin Fields gets one more year. I think Justin Fields gets 1 year. They've got them legit receivers. They got picks in the draft, so they're going to go out. They're going to be able to acquire good talent. This isn't going to be an awful roster. If you can't win 6 to 7 games and be competitive and get better at throwing, I'm sorry, I'm moving off you.
And this year with Justin Fields reminds me a lot of this past year with Lamar Jackson, right? This
A little
is the
bit,
year
yeah.
You got to play for the contract. You got to prove you're worth something.
Yeah, but Lamar's was more worth it before this.
Oh, 100%.
Before this year,
I mean, he had an
more
MVP.
than Justin Fields. Yeah, right,
yeah.
right.
You had more of a sample size with Lamar, but this is still one of those prove it or shut up years. So
Yeah.
You have to go out and really play well this year if you're Justin Fields. But yeah, this category makes sense for them.
I would say there's 4 teams here that kind of group together. Tennessee. Actually, I would put Green Bay also in with Chicago. If Jordan, we're going to assume Jordan Love's their starter.
Yeah, we're assuming
We're gonna-
Aaron's in New York.
And Jordan's been here for 3 years. Jordan only gets 1 year. I'm sorry. Jordan only gets 1 year to start. That's it. I'm sorry you only get 1 year. So for Green Bay, they're in the same spot as Chicago. Let's see how the young guy plays. The next 4, though, are in a similar spot. So Tennessee, the Rams, the Patriots, and Arizona.
Yeah.
Right? So for me, Tennessee and the Rams, veteran quarterbacks, injured a little bit last year, underwhelming last year when they did play. The roster's aging. It's getting close to rip it down time, but you're clinging on to that last shred of hope.
Yeah, you really are.
For me, I'd rip it down. Arizona and New England. New England, Mac Jones, you get 1 more year. If you can't make it work, I'm sorry, that's about it, right? That's about it.
And when has Bill Belichick ever had patience with a guy?
Not very often.
Not very often.
And then I would go if Arizona, even if Kyler only plays 5 games, if it's another noisy year for Arizona, I think they're moving off Kyler. I think that's it. I think if they're noisy, this coach and GM didn't draft him. They didn't sign him.
And I can see very well behind closed doors people being just kind of a little bit irritated with Kyler
Absolutely.
in that organization.
Yeah, Kyler doesn't even have to go out there and throw for a bunch of touchdowns and run around like crazy. He needs to be an adult this year.
Look,
he needs to be a grown-up this year.
NFL quarterbacks don't have problems being addicted to playing video games. I'm
couldn't
sorry,
agree
but they
more.
don't.
They don't.
Once you hit 21, 22 years old, you first of all, you should be doing better things with your time, especially if you're an NFL quarterback being paid that amount of money. I'd like to see you in the film room a little more than like dropping into Verdansk.
Yeah, I agree.
Warzone. So let's get the priorities straight. He has this year to prove it, and if not, it's going to be ugly there.
Okay, leaky plumbing here. So let's start with like the Giants, the Browns, the Jets, the Vikings, and the Seahawks. I don't know what I'm getting at quarterback. We're talking Daniel Jones, Deshaun Watson, post his 2-year hiatus, is not the same player. The Jets, is Aaron Rodgers committed if he is going to New York? If they don't get Aaron Rodgers, who's their quarterback? The Vikings, I like Kirk, but he shrinks big time. And Seattle, Geno had 1 good year. I'm not saying he can't repeat it, but I'm supposed to put my eggs in that basket?
No.
It's like the overall, the rosters of those teams aren't bad. Those aren't bad rosters. But there's too many question marks for me to be like, oh, yeah, for sure. And I would go Dallas, Denver, New Orleans, the Ravens, and the Raiders are in a very similar boat as well. So Dallas and Denver, you have veteran quarterbacks, kind of underwhelming, a little bit hurt here, a little bit hurt there. Have some turnover on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Rosters are pretty good, though.
But you got problems with those
cap issues. And then I would go with the Raiders and the Ravens. Big contract problems.
Oh, 100%.
The Ravens are paying, or the Raiders, I'm sorry, are paying a lot of big money at a lot of big positions. 2 edge rushers, 2 good receivers, a good tight end. Actually, they just dealt their tight end, so never mind. Actually, the Giants are paying for him now, the same category. So they finally moved up that contract. Jimmy G's not super cheap, although he's not wildly expensive, but he's not super cheap. And the Ravens, what do you do with Lamar's contracts? I don't think he's going to play under the exclusive tag.
No, and it could get really, really expensive really quick if somebody did make him an offer, and then you could try to match that. So they're not setting themselves up for success. And then you look at New Orleans, and they've been in cap hell for how many years now?
And they just keep pushing it down the road, and you're going to go ahead and pay Derek Carr that. Okay, good luck.
It's going to collapse.
And it's going to collapse. And I like Derek Carr. But let's be real here.
Much like with bad salary caps and leaky plumbing, you let it go for too long.
House is going down.
It's going to collapse at some point.
Okay, next one here. It's going to shock a lot of people. It needs paint. These teams are, paint and some shutters away from being ready to sell this house for $1 million plus.
The interior
the touch-up stuff. Buffalo. And now people might think, why is Buffalo not in your top tier? Josh Allen regressed badly. They don't have an offensive identity. Sean McDermott has been embarrassed in the playoffs. Don't have a run game. Offensive line's underwhelming. Defense is losing some starters.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's true. Now, granted, it's still a fantastic roster, and they're good at good enough at left tackle, star quarterback, star receiver, good edge rusher, a lockdown corner. So they cover all the main positions, and Sean McDermott's a more than capable coach.
And they're not the same team without Brian Daboll. Let's add that.
That's why they're not in the top. Then I would go Philly, San Fran, and the Chargers. I mean, both all really good. I think Philly losing a bunch of pieces. They need a lot of guys now. They need to hit on a lot of draft picks. It puts a lot of pressure on your GM when you go all in like that. You got to hit a bunch of draft picks now. That's a tough basket to put a bunch of eggs in.
Yeah.
San Fran, you need a quarterback. I'm sorry, or you need a healthy quarterback or a different quarterback. So that's why you need paint. And the Chargers, I need to see what Kellen Moore can do. And you're already in a dicey cap situation, and you're not even paying Justin Herbert yet.
Yeah.
So you need to figure that out first before we can put you in the top tier. The next four are all. They are considered lower tier in this tier, I would say. And these would be like shockers to be in this tier. I would go Steelers, Jags, Dolphins, Lions. Look, I'm sorry. The Steelers have a bunch of cap space, good draft capital, and a young nucleus.
Yeah.
A great head coach.
And they're starting to focus on the positions of need.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Kenny Pickett's only going to get better. And let's be real here. If Lamar doesn't play for... If Lamar doesn't play for the Ravens, that division's not that good.
I mean, you got Joe Burrow.
Cincinnati's good. Deshaun? I'm not scared of Deshaun. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
Deshaun and a Lamar-less Raven.
I'm not scared.
No.
Sorry, I'm not scared.
No.
The Jags are really good. They just need to start refining. They need to get better on the lines of scrimmage, get a better run game, support Lawrence a little bit more, better defense.
Well, kind of for the same reason as the Steelers there. Like, they got that. They got
right.
that core.
They have the young core, a little bit of money, another draft or two. They're right there. Dolphins need a quarterback. I don't know what to make of Tua.
Outside of quarterback, though, they are ready to go.
Yeah, I would agree.
They probably need the least, I would say, out of those teams.
And finally, the Lions.
Which is a shock because we have them higher than a lot of other teams on this list. But
they just solved their secondary in a free agency.
Yeah.
Solved. Done.
And that was really the only bad part. You have the pass
Need some linebackers, probably. The pass rush should be fine. You could add another piece.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a quarterback right now. Jared Goff's a top 12 guy.
Let him play for just 2-3 more years.
Jared Goff's a top 12 quarterback.
But I would also say this could also be the year where they go out and they draft their guy. Like, if they want to go out and they're interested in a Will
I think they should probably go get another receiver, too.
Yeah. You got to get a weapon.
Yeah. But they're not that far off.
But, like, Amon-Ra St. Brown?
They're three good players away from being a legitimate contender in a weak NFC. That's a factor.
Well, I think if Aaron Rodgers leaves and everything happens as
if
we
Aaron
say
leaves,
it's
I think they
going
win
to.
the division.
I think so too, because that opens up the NFC North, kicks the doors wide open. I actually like the Lions to beat the Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins like quite regularly.
I agree.
It's a good team. They're in this category. They're in needs paint. It's
I
shocking, but I like it.
Couldn't agree more. Last one here real quick. Ready to sell. These teams, they're loaded. They're locked and loaded for the next about 5 years to make a run almost every year. These are the teams that you would expect, and it would be a letdown if they're not in the conference championship. So they are ready to sell. It'd be Kansas City and Cincinnati.
And there's only two, and we don't have any NFC teams. We racked our brains. We tried to give the NFC a shot here.
Philly is probably your closest one there.
They're the strongest competitor, but they have a lot of issues.
They just lost like 7 starters. They lost their top 6 tacklers this past year.
And look, at the end of the day,
who's making tackles?
And because this is what we're going to get the most pushback for, is not having Philly in here.
100%.
We saw Jalen Hurts. Yes, he was great down the stretch. He was great in the Super Bowl. But outside of that, he was very pedestrian in the regular season. Like, early on in the season, that's when you had the big Gardner Minshew is better than Jalen Hurts. TikTok that kind of went viral and blew up there for a second. But those stats they're relevant. They're very, very, very relevant.
I agree. And so the first part of the season, like you said, pretty pedestrian. In the middle, he really picked it up. Remember, the last 5 games, including, I think, the first playoff game they had in the last 4 regular season games that he played, his pass rating was at like 70s.
Yeah.
He had completion percentage in the high 50s. He was throwing for like 130 yards a game.
Yeah.
He was like a half touchdown to a pick a game.
Average.
Below average. So, I mean, let's be real here. Before the Super Bowl, he had about 6 bad games in a row before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sorry. It's just a fact.
But, I mean, he did show glimpses, but they're not ready for this category. I think the Chiefs and the Bengals are the only two that can really call themselves that are ready to go.
I agree. Okay, let's transition into a little bit of a sports news thing here. Story number 1 here. So Japan has retaken their throne atop the WBC World Baseball Classic World. They go undefeated in this tournament, beating the U.S. 3-2 in the championship game. Actually kind of crazy. Ohtani striking out Trout to end it.
That was amazing.
It was electric.
It was storybook.
Right, and here's the thing, like, dude, I want the U.S. to win? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
That
I mean,
hurt.
am I fine with second place? Not ideal. Yeah, it's not too bad. And I'm a fan of baseball. At this point, I'm not super worried. Like, it's not...
Come on. I am not happy about the second place. I'm freaking pissed.
I'm not happy about it. But
That
I'm a
was
fan
the-
of baseball.
that was the biggest
and it was,
letdown.
And it was a really good baseball
It was
game.
the biggest letdown.
It wasn't ideal.
Dude, I was so excited. It was the perfect
I
storybook.
thought Trout was going to hit a home run.
3-2 count. Top of the ninth. He has to at least get on base to push it to Paul Goldschmidt. Hitting in the 4 spot.
I know.
And it would have
No,
been the
Paul's in
perfect
the 3,
time.
but yes.
I can already see like the Instagram reels that I would see for like 5 months following the game.
Yeah.
And then like all the sick ass edits.
No,
of,
I
like,
agree.
Trout just hitting a ding ding and tying it up right
It would
there.
be ideal. It almost
I'm
feels...
upset.
And to squander what Trey Turner just gave us in the last 3 games is just...
It's despicable.
It's despicable. Despicable is a damn good word.
Yeah.
It's a damn good word. I feel like we were let down a bit. Schwarber was a bit of a letdown. Granted, he had a home run in the championship game, but still a bit of a letdown over the entirety of the series. Pete Alonso was a huge letdown. I thought Bobby Witt, for being a young guy, played pretty well. Cedric Mullins, for getting some not as much playing time, played pretty well.
And what's up with the pop-ups on plus counts?
Pop-ups on plus counts was a big problem. I thought Real Muto, and I thought both of our catchers were pretty underwhelming. Our staff did not pitch very well, and here's the thing: we still got to the championship game. We have a really good team, and we're going to be good for the next WBC too. We have some young talent, so we should be just fine.
I know you're not getting compensated for any of these games, but for the love of God, when it's 3-0, why are we swinging and trying to just he's elevating.
We're 3-1 popping up into the infield. Like, that's got to be a pitch that we are putting into orbit.
It hurts.
I'm with you.
It hurts.
Okay, next 2 stories here we'll kind of do as one. We'll do a good cop, bad cop here. So we'll start good cop.
Okay.
The Bears trade out of the first pick. They will swap picks with Carolina, so they'll go back to number 9. They will get Carolina's first next year. I think they will get a second this year, and DJ Moore. Love the move. So you go get, I wouldn't call DJ Moore a high-end 1, but he's certainly a 1 in this league, I think. I think he's a low-end 1, but he's a 1. He's a massive upgrade at the wide receiver 1 on that team.
Yeah.
Massive. He's super productive. Right now, he'd be the franchise leader. 105 plus years of Chicago, he'd be the franchise leader in receiving.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
He's been playing, what, like 5 years?
well,
6
that
years?
trade was insane.
That's a huge trade. I love the move for the Bears. Love the move.
I was somewhere where I didn't have Wi-Fi and nothing was updating at all, and I
Right.
knew that something had happened, but I couldn't get the details of it. So that's when I texted you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I said, trade like DJ Moore. Like, what
Yeah.
happened with that? And I was like, what'd the Bears get? And you just replied with a haul.
They did get a haul. That's a good move. That's a good move for the Bears. On the flip side, though, bad cop here. They decided to then turn around and spend a bunch of money on, you guessed it, another expletive linebacker.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Another position that they shouldn't be overpaying.
And here's the kicker. You had Roquan Smith rostered, who is better than Tremaine Edmonds. I like Edmonds. But Roquan Smith is a much, much better linebacker. And you had him rostered, contract negotiations going on, was asking for a very similar number, a little bit higher than what they gave Tremaine, but a very similar number. And you traded him to then the next offseason pay big money for a lesser linebacker.
There were mistakes along the way. Obvious mistakes were made along the way there.
Physically, I can't understand.
I don't know if they're trying to do it at this point, because they did the same thing with Khalil Mack.
But this has transcended GMs, coaches.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is.
I don't get it.
How can you not look back at your history and just continue to do the same exact thing and just disappoint year in and year out? Even the year that they started 5-1, they ended up looking horrific. That was 2 years ago.
That was where Nick Foles got some playing time, and
that was the season that the Steelers went 11-0.
So that was Mitch Trubisky's last year, there wasn't it? No. Yeah, it would have been Mitch. No, Mitch would have been in Buffalo.
We went 11-0 with Ben.
I know. I'm asking. Mitch played for Chicago, so
Yeah.
the 5-1 start.
Yes.
I knew Nick Foles started a game or two. I think Mitch started a game. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. I mean, look, this isn't 2007 anymore. Brian Urlacher, Tremaine Edmonds, they're not leading you to the championship. Sorry.
Yeah. It's not the same style of football. We talked about that last week.
We did talk about that last week. Finally here, UFC, what was it, 286 now? I lose track. We're up, we're in the very high numbers.
287 is in like 2 or 3 weeks.
That's going to be great. That's Stylebender, Israel Adesanya, and Alex Pereira. That's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Insane. Because Izzy has whooped everybody's ass up until this point, except for Alex Pereira. Cannot beat him. Pereira beat him like 2 or 3 times in kickboxing. He's beat him twice in the UFC. And here's the thing. Izzy always dominates most of the fights, but then gets knocked out because Pereira has cinder blocks for hands.
Yeah.
That's 270. That's 287. Can't wait for that. 286, though, Leon Edwards still welterweight champion, beats Kamaru Usman.
Second time.
Kamaru Usman, yeah.
Yeah, Usman.
But yeah, I mean, Usman, see, at one point he was considered the best pound-for-pound fighter. He's now lost 2 straight fights, both to Leon Edwards. The first fight was crazy, though, because he dominated the whole thing, got head kicked late. This time, he got dominated from start to finish. Leon looked like a much more complete fighter. Usman didn't, so it's interesting.
Love the UFC.
They also said Colby Covington's going to get the next shot at Leon.
Really?
Love it. Love that.
That'll be a really good fight.
Colby's going to talk a bunch of shit, too.
I wonder when that'll be. That's going to be a while, probably.
Was it March?
It is March 23rd.
August or September, probably. Probably September.
Yeah. Nice fall fight.
Yeah. It's a big fight.
Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, the UFC.
It's definitely it's a title fight, so it's a main event. That'll be a card headliner for sure. It'll probably have a co-main, maybe like Alex Grasso or something.
Here's the thing: the UFC, just over. I mean, I've really noticed it over the last 4 or 5 years, I guess. They just don't schedule bad cards anymore. Every now and then, like
even
like
the
9-10 years ago, a UFC fight night. They are stacked now.
They're still, yeah.
They're doing a great job over there.
Absolutely. I mean, some of the prelims, you gotta start watching early sometimes. I mean, these are good cards. These are good cards.
The only thing
the talent's just gotten better.
The only thing I didn't like about 286 was that the stupid times difference from London to here.
Yeah, it was over by like 9 o'clock. I'm used to sitting down, starting at 11, and being like, okay, main card time.
Yeah.
Like 10 o'clock.
I'd like to watch all the prelims too.
Depends. Depends on the card. Sometimes I will.
I just like watching people.
But I like the late night. I like the late night. The late night, I like that better.
Yeah. I mean, the fights get more. They get a lot more technical. You get a lot of those. Oh God.
And on a weekend,
I can remember a lot of the Uriah Faber fights from back in the day.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, Uriah was a beast. The California kid.
He's always my favorite, man.
I mean, you look at the key demographic. Mostly like guys our age. Like, first of all, guys for sure.
Yeah.
And mostly younger. You don't got a lot of like 50, 60, 70-year-old guys watching UFC. Mostly younger. What are younger guys doing on a Saturday night? You're going out for a little bit. You got you have at bare minimum dinner plans.
Yeah.
Which means you're not going to sit down until 9:30, and so that's why the fight starts at 10 usually. That's why the main card starts at 10 usually. It makes sense. So to have it end by like 9 because of the time difference, I didn't like that.
No, it was weird. It started at 5.
Yeah, wasn't my bag, but
strange. Either way though, great card overall. UFC 286. But we're going to get into a break now. When we come out of the break, we are going to do sort of a mock draft, except a little bit like competitive. So we're going to flip a coin. So step 1 before next segment is get a coin. We're going to flip it. And
I see coins.
Okay.
We have coins.
So we're going to get a coin, flip it. Whoever calls it, I guess, will get the
choice
option
of first
to
pick,
defer or take the first pick.
Yeah.
And we're going to run through the first round of this year's NFL draft and kind of go through who takes who. What's up? We are back. It is the third segment here. Thursday, March 23rd. So moving on through the month, getting closer to NFL draft time. So this is really the first thing that we're doing this segment to jump into that
mock type thing.
Yeah, we will have multiple different versions of this that will come out throughout the course of the next few weeks as we get closer to the draft. But this is number 1, first thing we're doing. So that's all we're doing this segment also. If you haven't yet, go to theissuesports.com. Order the new merch.
Why would you have not?
We have everything. The orders are closing, I believe, at the end of this week.
Yeah.
On the 24th. Or no, 25th.
25th,
so
okay.
The 25th is the last day to order, so jump on everything and get it by April 3rd. Everything should ship on the 1st and then get into the 3rd. We'll be good there.
Not even bad at all.
No.
Yeah, a week and a half. If you order. Oh no, about a week.
Yeah.
A week and a day.
Right at a week. So go ahead, theissuesports.com, order it up. But let's just jump right into it. So we're gonna start with the coin toss. We need to figure out who's gonna go first, because whoever goes first will get pick 1, and then
and then subsequently 3, 5, etc.
all the odds or evens.
And I know Miami's pick got forfeited the 19th, so we're gonna go all the way to 32. So technically, we're gonna do the first round and the first pick the second round, but you get the point. Okay, call in the air.
Call in the air.
You're gonna call in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna call.
Yeah,
okay,
I was just emphasizing heads.
Oh, I have the first overall pick. It was tails. It's a massive freaking coin, though. Okay.
I can't believe we found that.
So I'm Carolina. I traded up. I gave away a lot of capital. I have to go with somebody that's going to sell me tickets. I have to go with somebody who I can trust to be really good and really competitive, pretty much, right off the rip. And I think that person is Bryce Young. So I'm going to go ahead and take Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama. Look, I think Bryce is the most productive player that you can get with that first overall pick.
Wow.
And let's be real. I don't think Bryce in a Chicago or a northern windy city would work out. I think he could do fine in Carolina. Think about the division. Carolina, Tampa, Atlanta's inside. New Orleans is inside. There's 8 games right there. Good weather. Good weather, I don't worry.
See, I have them taking a quarterback, but not that quarterback.
Okay, well, sucks for you. Okay, now you're on the clock. You have Houston.
All right, Houston. I'll go with the guy that you didn't pick. I'll go C.J. Stroud.
C.J. Stroud.
So they are in need of a quarterback. They're in need of something to build around. They need a quarterback. That is their number one thing. They need a lot of talent, but having somebody to at least have an idea of the direction that you want to move in.
Right.
The style of your quarterback matters. Think about when the Ravens first went out and got Lamar. They had to completely tailor that offense to match Lamar in the way that he plays. That's what I see happening in Houston. They're going to go get a C.J. Stroud. I thought they were going to, I thought if C.J. Stroud goes first to Carolina, I could definitely see them taking a Bryce Young. But I don't think they're going to roll the dice on like a Will Levis.
It's fair. It's very, very fair. All right, so what? Now then I would be on the clock at the 3rd overall pick. Arizona. I think Will Anderson's the pick here. I think he's the best edge rusher we've seen in the last 2 to 3 years as a prospect. Probably since Chase Young. No, I don't think he's quite as good as Chase Young, but at the end of the day, Arizona's got they're not down to the studs, but you're looking to shop DeAndre Hopkins. You don't have a lot of talent there, so you're going to rebuild the offense. You might as well have a competitive defense while you're there. I think Will Anderson's the best available for a team that has a lot of holes, and you have to remember who is their coach now. Jonathan Gannon. Jonathan Gannon's a defensive guy. He's going to go for defense. And me personally, I would probably go Will Anderson as well. Build the best roster, so Will at 3.
Look, at 4, I'm looking at the Indianapolis Colts here. They need a lot of things.
Yes, they do.
They need a quarterback. I don't think that's their most pressing issue at this point. I think they have bigger needs that they need to go out and look at and address. Because this
I like where you're going.
This is a spot where I could see a Will Levis, but I'm not going to take Will Levis.
Who are you going to take?
I'm going to go Christian Gonzalez, the corner from Oregon.
Wow, at 4. At 4. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think he's going to be insane.
Wow. All right.
You don't like that?
I don't hate it.
Because, look, the Colts needs to do something about the secondary.
I don't love it.
Their secondary is horrific.
I'll give you that.
It's bad.
I'll give you that.
This mock draft.
Wow.
This mock draft has him going at 3, actually.
That's a little crazy.
I like him at 4. I like him at the Colts.
Okay. Well, I got the 5th pick with Seattle. Wow. I just didn't expect that. So now that puts... I think if I'm Seattle, I'm drafting somebody. But if I know he's going to sit, I don't know if I can get behind either of these quarterbacks left, though. I think Seattle can go get a quarterback in later rounds. So if I'm Seattle, I think I'm going to probably stop the slide, and I'm going to probably take Jalen Carter at 5.
This feels like the war room.
See, I think Jalen Carter fits here. Look, I don't think Seattle needs a first-round quarterback right now. I don't. I think Geno's going to be good enough for a year or two. If you want to go get a second, third-round quarterback, fine, for sure. I mean, I'm looking right now. You're looking at these top prospects. Quarterbacks. Hendon Hooker was wildly productive. That's a big body. That's an NFL body.
Yeah.
Hendon Hooker's, what was he? He's 6'4", 220. That's an NFL body.
It's huge.
That's an NFL body. Tanner McKee from Stanford's good. People like Max Duggan. Stetson Bennett's out there. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be studs, but if you want to get a quarterback, see what you got, late rounds, there's plenty of quarterbacks to do it. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Number 6 here, Detroit Lions. This is where it happens.
Quarterback.
This is where it comes.
Anthony Richardson.
Will Levis.
Okay.
I think Will Levis in Detroit would make a lot of sense. Number 1, because you give him the option to sit behind Jared Goff. Jared Goff is an experienced quarterback, been to a Super Bowl, plays very competent football, and he's been able to do well in Detroit. And I think they're going to stick with him for another year or two. But I think this is the perfect situation because you have a guy like Will Levis where there's a lot of question marks, and not everybody's sold on him. So if you can sit him behind a guy like Jared Goff for a season, for 2 seasons, learn a little bit of a Jordan Love effect. Like, we haven't seen how he's played yet.
Right.
But I think after a year or two sitting, learning, getting used to everything in practices, I mean, lifestyle changes so much from college to the NFL. Just that alone, being ready to lead a team, I think he'll be ready to do it in another year. I think Detroit drafts Will Levis now.
Okay. I'm caught between 2 guys. So I have the Las Vegas Raiders here at number 7. I'm going to shock the world. Joey Porter Jr.
Whoa. I was hoping he'd follow this.
So that's a lot higher than a lot of people have him going. Right, Cam Smith from South Carolina is ranked higher. Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. Devin Witherspoon's 6 foot, $180. I'm sorry, that's not an NFL corner. I don't believe him. I'm very. What is it? It's not bullish and bearish. Which one's good, bad? I'm just not. I'm out on Devin Witherspoon as a prospect. He's a little bit too small for me. Joey Porter's got the size. He's got the length. And people are talking about them taking a quarterback. I don't think with Garoppolo the 3-year deal. I don't think you need to go get an Anthony Richardson. I don't think it'd be a bad idea, but I don't think you need to go get him. I think there's plenty of other needs on that roster, and we could sit here and say, "Oh, plan for the future." You're in Vegas, dude. You got to win. You're in a tough division. You got to win right now. So, Joey Porter.
Oh, man. I'm caught between a bunch on this one. Atlanta Falcons at 8. Now, that for a second, I was thinking they would take a quarterback. But I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback so close to Desmond Ridder. I think, if anything, they're going to go get a veteran. So I'm not going to take a quarterback here. I think the biggest thing is they need to start building up some sort of an offensive line so that they can run the football. And that's where I think Peter Skoronski fits in really well from Northwestern.
Makes sense to me.
Having somebody to bolster that offensive line. When you eventually get the quarterback that you're looking to get, that's a great piece. Protect the quarterback, give him time to throw the football. Also, tearing open holes in the run game. That's going to be one of the biggest things so that they can have that, I guess, somewhat of success, whatever you can define that as in Atlanta. Yeah. I don't think it'll be much, but I think it'll be something. So.
Okay, I will go Tyree Wilson, edge rusher from Texas Tech, to the Bears there at 9. Look, he's almost like a poor man's Jalen Carter. He's a big dude. Everybody's 6'6", almost 300 pounds. So that's a big guy off the edge. He'll be able to get some pressure for a team that needs it. So Chicago takes Tyree Wilson at 9.
All right, at 10, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going edge rusher as well. Lucas Van Ness from Iowa.
Oh, I think that's interesting.
That would be fantastic to add a guy like that to a Philadelphia defense.
They would be really good. They would be good.
And I think it's something that they could use, and especially use youth on that defensive line at that position, I think is really important.
Tennessee, I've been back and forth. I think Tennessee needs to go get a DB. I think Cam Smith has fallen far enough. I think I'll take Cam Smith out of South Carolina, DB, going to Tennessee.
Yeah, so at 12 we have Houston. Everything's telling me to take Quentin Johnston here. Or Johnston from TCU, wide receiver. They need somebody to go get open. They need a piece on offense, a weapon that they can build around with that first pick of a quarterback. I had them take C.J. Stroud, so I think C.J. Stroud, Quentin Johnston, build a little bit of a Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow thing going there.
I don't hate that.
At least you try. You throw an attempt at it.
All right, I got the Jets, 13. Give me the big tackle. Give me Paris Johnson out of Ohio State.
Wow. Okay. He kind of slipped down here.
He did slip down a little bit. I think he fits at 13. Look, he's a big body. He played in the Big Ten, so he's played in an NFL-ready system. He'll be ready to go day one. The GM already whiffed on a tackle, so you got to make amends for that. He's going to make amends with the first round tackle here. This is assuming they don't trade this pick for Rodgers, so they'll take Paris Johnson.
All right. I like that. At 14, I got the Patriots drafting here. I think this is another wide receiver spot. I think this is where we see Jackson Smith and Jigba go at least try to help and bail out Mac Jones a little bit. They need a weapon. They need somebody to throw to.
What are you talking about, Juju? All right, so it's Jackson Smith. And
I was going to win.
All right.
No, yeah, I like him going to New England. They need to build up some sort of weapon room. Bill Belichick's never been great at it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he'll work out at the next level or not, but I think it's something that the Patriots need to seriously
look
look
that's
into.
fair. That's a very obvious pick. He's obviously one of the best talent-wise. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think he's the safest wide receiver. So I'm at Green Bay. I'm also going to go wide receiver here.
Oh.
I'm going to go Jordan Addison, though. And I think that works out because Jordan Addison's a route runner, much more of a refined route runner. So he's going to create separation. Now, he's not super dynamic in terms of vertical threat, down the field, big play, go up and make a big contested catch. But he's a very good route runner. He'll separate for Jordan Love, which is what a young quarterback needs. So give me Jordan Addison.
All right. At 16, I have the Washington Commanders, and they need to bolster the secondary. They need help. I'm going to go Brian Branch.
Brian Branch, all right.
Secondary.
I like it. A little safety action.
From Alabama.
That's a total Ron Rivera pick.
That is. Look, I mean, do they or do they not need help?
They do.
In the secondary, they do.
They do.
I'll
give you that.
I think he's one of the best talents available at this point, and I think he would help out a lot in Washington. So I could see the pick, and honestly, I think it would be a pretty good one.
Okay, at 17. Let me shock the world. The Pittsburgh Steelers select.
Yeah, who's that?
I want to find his name so I can give him the whole introduction. Because I kind of forget off the top of my head where he's going to school. Oh, there he is. Senior offensive tackle out of the University of Tennessee, Darnell Wright. I mean, look, he's 6'6", 235. That man's built like a Tyron Smith. Like, he's built like an all-time left tackle. And we shored up the inside of the offensive line here in Pittsburgh with the two signings and the recent draft picks. So I think you go outside now, start building tackles. And I think he's probably outside of the top two, which I think is Skoronski and Paris Johnson. I think he's the third best tackle, and he's the biggest, most projectable. So I'll go Darnell Wright.
All right. Okay, that lands me at 18 here with the Detroit Lions. We kind of talked about it. We would love for them to have a weapon. I think that would go a long way to kind of complement Amon-Ra. So at 18, I like him a lot. Zay Flowers, Boston College.
Yeah, and I've had a feeling you were going to go Zay.
I think he is one of the better talents, and I think he has a really high upside, especially in a Detroit system. So if Detroit does go ahead and Will Levis can fall to them, I think that would be perfect. You let Zay play, I don't know, 1-2 years without Will Levis. You insert Will Levis. He has competent wide receivers and good weapons to throw to. I like it. Zay Flowers at 18 to the Lions.
Not a bad pick at all. That's not a bad pick at all. For Tampa, I am going to go stop the slide here a little bit because this is the 11th overall guy on a lot of draft boards, on at least the one I'm looking at here. I'm going to go defensive lineman out of Clemson, Miles Murphy to Tampa Bay. Look, Tampa's not going to probably make a big splash, go quarterback or anything like that, but I think it's important for them to start building in the trenches. If they're going to rebuild, I think that's the place to do it. So it makes sense for me to go ahead and go with Miles Murphy there. Wait, who'd you pick at 18 again?
I picked Zay Flowers.
That's right, you picked Zay.
Yeah.
Okay. My bad.
Well, with the 20th pick, the Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to take Kalia Cansey from Pitt.
Kalisha, all right.
I think he's fantastic. You were showing me
Big Cansey.
You were showing
I love
me
the pick.
the combine videos and all
That's
the
such
stats.
a Pete Carroll pick. I love it.
Getting in the minds of these NFL coaches and GMs, Timbo. That's what it is.
I love
But the Seahawks, Elijah Cansey, Pitt, great pass rusher. I mean, he is going to get after quarterbacks. And he's really good at playing the run, too, which I think is going to be big.
Yeah.
And Seattle could definitely use some help in that area. So, that's my 20th pick.
Number 21, the Chargers. Go get tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame.
Michael Myers.
Is it Michael Mayer or Michael Mayer?
It's Mayer.
Is it Mayer?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to go Michael Mayer then. I guess it is kind of spelled like John Mayer. Makes sense. Anyway, yeah, he's the best tight end in the draft. People are saying he's the best tight end prospect in the last 20 years. And the Chargers, that'd be a great safety valve for Herbert. That'd be fantastic. So Michael Mayer there at 21.
Okay. 22, you stole my pick here. It was going to be Jordan Addison for the Baltimore Ravens. Since you took him, I think the next need that I can see, I don't really love too many of the other wide receivers going up like
I would agree
at this point in the draft. So I'm going to go corner. I think they could use some help in the secondary, especially in division with Joe Burrow. They're going to need somebody to slow that roll. Tyreek Stevenson from Miami.
Interesting.
I think he could make a difference there in the secondary at Baltimore.
That's an interesting one.
AFC North, Kenny Pickett's kind of coming into his own, and you have Burrow. And then you have Massage Boy Deshaun Watson. But
that's not what I expected. I'll tell you what. It's a very interesting pick.
I'll take him at 22.
It's a very interesting. What's his name again?
Tyreek Stevenson.
Tyreek Stevenson.
Spelled Tyrik.
We don't really care that much about spelling.
Okay.
I'll figure it out. It's okay.
All right. You write it phonetically?
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
I don't even have him on my board. That's interesting. That's an interesting one. All right, 23, the Vikings. I'm going to go Andre Carter the second. So Andre Carter, he's an edge rusher from Army, senior, big guy, 6'7", 260.
Big guy.
6'7", 260. That's an NFL body. That's somebody that's going to be after the quarterback. So I like Andre Carter the second.
Okay, 24. Got the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this is another place to pick another DB.
Okay, hit me with it.
Devin Witherspoon.
You're gonna stop the drop. I figured you were. I think that's perfect.
I
don't hate the pick. For the Giants, I gotta go Dalton Kincaid, the other tight end who has been.
Now you're just trying to hurt feelings.
From Utah. Look, I don't like Daniel Jones, but you got to give the man a shot, right? You got to give him a chance. So you got to get him. You got to get him somebody to throw to. So yeah, Dalton Kincaid.
Dude.
Good. Keep going. 26.
You took a lot of my picks.
That's okay. You got Dallas. You were gonna have them Dalton Kincaid to Dallas, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought that would have been a good
pick. Got to adjust on the fly. Part of drafting, isn't it fun?
I thought that would be a good pick. Okay, why not screw myself a little more? We're gonna go Kansas City. I had Kansas City. Oh no, you have the Kansas City pick.
Yeah.
Where am I at?
You're at Dallas.
Yeah, I'm at Dallas. Jalen Duncan, Maryland.
Jalen Duncan. I'm killing this draft.
I mean, I have so many boring picks.
You do have boring picks.
I'm just taking like rotational.
Give me your rundown on Duncan. Jalen Duncan. Offensive tackle.
Duncan.
Senior, I see.
Yeah.
6'6", 230. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
He's a big dude. A little overdrafted, but he's a big dude. He's got potential. I'll give you that.
Hey, look.
I'll give
Dallas
you that.
needs some help. Somebody needs to make Dak look like he's a decent quarterback. So.
All right, give me Jahmyr Gibbs for Buffalo, running back from Alabama. You need somebody to carry the football. They just signed Damian Harris from the Patriots, but I don't think that's a splash. I think you go draft the best back available, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay. I mean, hey, that's fine.
Hey,
if you want to do that, that's fine.
That's exactly what I want to do.
All right,
28. Who you got?
28.
Cincy's a good pick. Just a fun one.
Yeah, but I'm taking an offensive lineman.
Again? Who are you taking? Taking Anton Harrison?
No.
Really?
Osiris Torrance.
Osiris?
Guard from Florida. I think he's going to be pretty good. I mean, you just need somebody to protect Burrow.
Played in the SEC. He's a big dude.
The line still isn't perfect in Cincinnati, so you need something to kind of bolster that a little bit. You need to shore that the lineup, especially in division with the T.J. Watt and a Ravens pass rush, which
Miles
is going to be
Garrett.
pretty good. Miles Garrett, yeah.
Don't love him, but he's good.
Yeah,
Can't deny
so
that.
gotta seal up that line somehow. So Osiris Torrance there at the 28.
I didn't expect this guy to be available.
Who's it?
I'm going to go Anton Harrison. So this is New Orleans, 29th pick. Anton Harrison out of Oklahoma. Offensive tackle.
Didn't think he'd be available.
Didn't think he'd be available. He's 27th overall prospect. One of the top tackles.
That's fair.
Not on your draft board? It's interesting. All right.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, you got a couple guys that weren't on mine, so that's fair. Yeah, Anton Harrison. So I was stuck between him and Broderick Jones out of Georgia, but Broderick Jones a sophomore. You know, Anton Harrison Jr. I like a little bit more experience in my guys, so I'll take Anton Harrison to New Orleans.
Okay. So we got 30 here.
You got 30.
All right. Let me get back to that. You want to tell me who that is?
Philly.
Philly. Yeah, just have the numbers written here. I thought it would be easier, but everything, of course,
That's
is
okay.
freezing. Murphy's Law.
That's okay. I don't know what that means, but sure.
Okay.
Is that like a physics thing?
No.
Okay.
It's if something can go wrong, will go wrong. And things have gone way off.
Is that a theorem or a?
No.
Is that it's a full blown law?
Yeah, it's a full
Seems like
full
theorem to
blown
me.
law.
Seems like a theorem.
No.
Good.
Jalen Hyatt, wide receiver from Tennessee.
Love that.
I think that would be a fantastic place for him to end up. I think Jalen Hurts could use somebody else to throw to.
Another weapon. That's interesting.
And also
I love
somebody
it.
named Jalen. So
I love it.
kind of fits.
I love it. Kansas City. Huh. This one's tough for me. I'm going to go with... I'm caught between Nolan Smith and Brian Breesy. Nolan Smith, the edge rusher out of Georgia. A little more injury prone for my taste. I'll take Brian Breesy from Clemson.
Okay.
I think it's Breesy, Brisset. I don't know. We're going to go Breezy. Big guy, edge rusher, quick. Not quite as quick and slender as like a T.J. Watt or necessarily an outside linebacker, but he's a good edge rusher. Doesn't get hurt quite as much as Nolan Smith, so I'll take him to Casey at 31.
Okay. I like that. 32.
You get the lures.
I think they need... You didn't take Nolan Smith?
I did not take Nolan Smith. You're going to take Nolan
Smith.
Smith? Wow.
Taking Nolan Smith.
Wow.
How cool would that
That's
be?
interesting. So what, are you anticipating Alex Highsmith gets too much money on the market, walks in a year, Nolan Smith can step in alongside T.J. Watt?
I think that would be...
Be the fastest pass rushing duo in the league.
Could you imagine that?
The fastest pass rushing duo in the league.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Guys, it's on the screen for you. Are all 32 of our picks. That's very interesting. I mean...
This other mock draft actually has the Steelers taking a defensive tackle.
I don't hate it. I'm going to be honest.
I mean, you saw how effective it was when Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt were together.
I agree. I love Highsmith, and I do think he's going to fetch a lot of money on the market. You can't pay two edge rushers, so it's very plausible that he leaves after a year and you get Nolan Smith.
You get him on his rookie deal.
It's interesting. I like it. There's the mock draft, guys. We appreciate you stopping in. Go check out the merch. It ships, this week?
It ships
end of week,
on April
week?
1st.
Next week. Ships early next week. Closes the end of this week, so go get those orders in. This is a hoodie that we sell. I love this hoodie. I wear this hoodie a lot.
Yeah.
Please wear this hoodie with me. Just
Absolutely.
wear the hoodie. It's a nice hoodie. I promise it's a nice hoodie.
Fantastic. Got reviews on the website from last month. Go check them out.
Oh, interesting.
Also, this shirt, we sell the issue script.
It's a nice shirt.
Fantastic shirt. Very breathable.
For sure.
It's a 9.8 shirt.
A 9.8. I like a 9.8. All right, fair enough.
It's a highly ranked shirt. But, guys, go check out the website, theissuesports.com. Sign up for the newsletter while you're there. They come out every Wednesday. But thank you guys for hanging out with us. We will be back next Thursday. That was The Issue.